Hello and welcome to the FOMO Creator Show. I am your host, Making Sang, first name Making, and today I am a bit proper excited because we've got the incredible Tim Hughes, author of Social Selling, with us today. How are you, my lovely Tim?
Hello, Making. How you doing? I'm really
Oh,
excited to be here.
and I'm so excited to have you here. Now, the first segment of the show, of course, is how we met. So, if we just want to talk a little bit about this little screen, and it'll sort of explain
Th-
a little bit about that.
So where did we meet?
Well, okay, just as a reminder, then
Was
I've
it
got
on Twitter? Because
bit
I've known you for what? I don't know. Yeah, look, there's me looking really hot and sweaty.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was through Twitter, and in fact, even before this screenshot was taken, we'll talk more about that in a moment.
I look a
I
bit like
was,
Vic Reeves there, but it must have been on a hot day because I'm really. I look really. So my glasses are hanging off. It's a bit like Eric Morecambe.
oh, that's hilarious. Well, I was going to say that I was a bit starstruck by you, actually, Tim, because I've been admiring your work on Twitter for a good few years, admiring your tweets, learning from them, and so on. And then my dear friend Khalid Kareem, he actually gifted your first book to me. It's marketing,
Oh, that one. That's it.
and I thought that was incredible. Yeah, there you go.
Have you got that one?
I don't know. Oh, is that the Chinese edition?
I think it's
Wow.
actually I think it's Vietnamese.
Oh, it's Vietnamese. Oh, I apologize. Sorry, Vietnamese. Oh, it looked Chinese there. Anyway, so then, um, I think it was last year, to my surprise, you popped up in my DMs and said, "Hey, do you fancy coming on my show? Because apparently you've been lurking on my stuff for a while." And when I saw that DM, I was really starstruck. I was like, "Oh my God, the Tim Hughes has got in touch with me and wants to be on my show." And that was how we met. And it was an incredible show because we were talking about, well, social selling, right? And you're the author of the second book, Social Selling. And it's really amazing because I've been delivering training on social media and FOMO for several years. And I actually used a screenshot, a definition of what social selling is all about. I don't know if you wanted to pop that up onto the screen, Mark. And so I actually explained this in my in my training. So this was before I met you. So it couldn't believe it when we then started actually engaging, talking to each other. Because now when I deliver the slides, it's like I know this guy. I've met him and everything. We've hung out and everything. So
I get.
anyway, for
It's
anybody who's
interesting.
never heard,
It's
sorry.
interesting. Yeah, no, I was going to say. I mean, my first, the first version, the 2016, it came out in 2016. It was the first book ever on social selling. We, I had a co-author on that, Matt, and we worked really hard we were desperate for it to become the first one to come out. And it, it just took off. It's been it changed my life. But to your point, a lot of people come to me. I'm trying to remember. So it's used by the Institute. I think it's the Institute of Digital Marketing when they train. It's used by people who've written dissertations about it. I've had people coming to me say, that not PhDs, but all kinds of universities and stuff have used it. So I mean, it's been an amazing journey.
Yeah. So I was wondering whether we could actually bring that slide up again because we need to explain to people to B2B's in particular and companies about what social selling is all about. So um Tim, why don't we hear from the horse's mouth? What is social selling?
Well, I think on the next slide there's actually my definition, which is social selling is using your presence and behavior on social media to build influence, make connections, grow relationships and trust, which lead to conversation and commercial interaction. So a lot of people, I think, when they think about social selling, they think it's about selling on social, and unfortunately it's not. You know, we all get these spammy messages where people, you know, connect and then immediately start pitching. That's spam. It's not social selling. The secret's in the name, which is social media, and social media is about being social on media. And what we're doing is that we're helping organizations get conversations, because in a B2B world, what I sell and what everybody else sells in the B2B world requires you to have a conversation. And so what we're doing is that we're enabling people to have conversations at scale in a way where people don't feel that they're being scammed or spammed. You know, in one case, one of our clients, because of the way that we train people, because that they're in a position where buyers are actually going, that person looks interesting. We've had salespeople where people have actually walked towards the salesperson. There's then been a conversation that's taken place like you would always get in sales, and then it's turned into in that case, it turned into a $2.6 million deal. So, you know, this isn't just small itsy bitsy stuff. You know, people are doing major multi-million-dollar deals through social media, but you've got to do it the right way. And that's one of the differences.
And I think that, you know, when we were talking offline earlier, you were talking about how people are using old style techniques onto social media, and that's where they're going wrong. So, you know, when you mentioned about selling is not about selling on social, it's actually about having great conversations. Is that the kind of thing that is covered in your book?
Yeah, so the history of sales and marketing is that sales and marketing, since, you know, advertising was developed in the 1930s, you know, nearly 100 years ago, and that's all based on interruption. So what happens is that you're reading a newspaper and I interrupt you with my ad and I basically pitch what I do, and that's, you know, cold calling. I interrupt you and I pitch. I send you an email, I interrupt you and I pitch, and in all those cases, what you're doing is that you're you know, most people now, we're so advanced in the way that we're used to using the internet and being able to find what we want. You know, as soon as we want to buy something, we pick up a phone. You know, my partner and I, she has a significant birthday this year and we're organizing a holiday, and we've done all the research online. You know, we know whether we're staying in what hotel and whether the Airbnb before we actually contact the holiday company. In effect, we're using them as a service to actually book all the different hotels. And we do this whether that's a small amount like a holiday or for big multi-million-dollar deals. So we're used to the way that it works. So when people start spamming us either or cold calling us, it's such an annoyance. And of course, your ability to get through to people now is less and less. You know, email marketing. You know, HubSpot say has a 98% failure rate, and they make email marketing systems, so they have a vested interest to talk it up. You know, Salesforce say that, you know, cold calling has a 99% failure rate. So, you know, to stand up in front of a board and say that you're going to use those mechanisms, especially in 2023, is kind of quite scary. And, you know, we actually see that there's a connection between the number of layoffs that are taking place and the fact that people are using 1980, 1990 sales and marketing methods. And we're surprised that there hasn't been some sort of uprising from employees to basically say, you know, this is 2023. We need to be selling a marketing like company in 2023, not one in 1980. I mean, you know, people are using methods that were created before they were born.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's that's really enlightening.
Especially
Now,
when there's
we've come.
books like mine. Did I tell you I've got a new book out? Especially there's books like mine which are freely available to go and buy that says, actually, here's a different method of doing stuff.
Yeah, but I think, I guess it's very challenging for B2Bs who've been doing things, one way for a gazillion years to actually then think that they need to retrain and learn. But of course, you have been teaching a lot of B2Bs how to do it the right way through the powers of social selling. So we've come to the segments of the show where we want to talk about how do your clients use social selling to create FOMO. We're talking about the FOMO. We're on the FOMO Creator Show, of course, and we've talked on your show about FOMO, buzz, and excitement and social selling. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about how your clients do just that.
Yeah, so I talked about this earlier. This is our definition of what social selling is, and so it's about really about you first and foremost. You've got to be on social media. And we talk about, this isn't about, it's not about learning LinkedIn, because what you need to be able to do today is, especially in the B2B world, is what we call walk digital corridors and have digital conversations. If you can't be sure that everybody that you want to sell to is either on LinkedIn or active on LinkedIn. They may be on Instagram. So what you need to do is you need to have an ability to be social, which means that you can go, oh, look, my target customer is on Instagram. She walks in Bushy Park, which is one of the royal parks in London, for those that don't know, and she's got 2 Labradors. And she posts pictures of going on to walking those Labradors. So if you've been trained on LinkedIn, you don't know how to go on to Instagram. You need to know how to be social. And that's what we do, is that we teach people, and it's that ability to be able to go wherever you want on social media. It could be on TikTok. It doesn't matter what the platform is. It's having the requisite skills to be that social person. So that's about having that social presence and behavior on social media. And then being able to build influence. We know, because the data shows it and the research shows it, that what buyers are looking for is someone that could help them. They're looking for an expert. They're looking for, if I wanted to find out about FOMO, I come to May King because she is clearly the expert about FOMO. And you whatever, if you sell payroll systems, you present yourself ultimately as an expert about that. I remember training a bunch of people who work for a waste management company. And I talked to this one sales guy and I said, so what do you do? He said, well, I probably know more about waste management for medical devices than anybody in the country. I said, well, that's really interesting. I said, but it doesn't say that on your LinkedIn profile. It just says that you've done a couple of jobs and so here is a technical skill about understanding about, what getting rid of waste. We all know that from COVID with PPE and stuff like that. About these things, but you need to be presenting that. So that's about your, making sure that you're growing influence. But also what you need to be doing is you need to be making connections. So the way that people search today is very different. And with things like chat GPT, it's going to change even more. So generally what happens is the way people search nowadays, especially in B2B, is they will use Google, but they also use social media. And the reason for that difference is that Google doesn't give us the answers we want. I'll give you an example. If we say, what's the capital of Nigeria? It will give us the answer we want. But if we ask it, what's the best CRM system I should buy? It doesn't give us the answer, because 10,000 CRM vendors will buy that search. Whereas if I search on social media, it's very different, because what I get a user perspective about things. If I come to LinkedIn and say, what's the best, and I post, what's the best CRM system in the world, I'll get comments which will be based on people's use and experience. And it's a completely different thing. Now, what we find is that nowadays, there are people under the age of 30 use social media to search than they do. More people use social media to search than they do Google. And they reckon that most people under the age of 40 are there's more, those people are now the decision makers making decisions. So what people are doing is that they're coming to social media and they're searching they also search very differently, which is what we would call discovery. So quite often people come to social media, and you'll do this, which is you don't know the question you want to ask. You may not even know the answer. So you actually come to social media and you're and oh yeah, I never thought, I've not seen one of those before. What's that? Oh, that's interesting. And it's only at that point where you pique the person's curiosity, and it's only at that point where you're necessarily creating the desire. And what happens is that even today, you go through LinkedIn and you go through the timeline, and you're going boring, 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 boring. Oh, that's interesting. And the boring is because people keep insisting on putting out brochures and research shows that nobody reads brochures. Research shows that people come to social media to be social, not to read brochures. If I want to read a brochure, I'll go to your website, right?
Yeah.
And HubSpot shows that most people go to websites for them a maximum of 2 to 4 minutes, because why I go to your website is to basically see that you're alive and you're a company. Because
right.
And the other thing about website is we all know that you're going to say exactly the same as the competition. You're going to say, buy my product because we're great. So if I go to, I used to sell accounting systems, Oracle, SAP, Sage, Xero, all of the accounting systems say exactly the same thing on their website. Ours is the best. So we know this. It's this corporate propaganda. And so we just ignore it. And most people are spending billions on basically corporate propaganda that we just ignore, because we just go the boring. And so what happens is that we go out onto social media. We know that we're going to get these things. We don't even think about it. It's a subconscious, but we're looking for things or we may find things that we didn't even know that we needed or wanted. And this is the way that there's this perception still that it's 1980. I'm going to put out a brochure and you're going to go, wow, isn't that amazing? I need buy 3 of these. And it doesn't work like that. And it hasn't worked like that for 10 years. And people are spending billions and it's just going down the pan. And they might as well just go and, there's a conference center in London that I have a picture of it. You go to the toilet. And you open if you open the door, and a big sign above the toilet says, "Please do not push brochures down the toilet because it blocks it." And the funny thing is that I've been to a conference there, and there was all these brochures, and all I wanted was the drink thing and whatever, and I threw the rest of the stuff out. There's a big pile of brochures, but people are so bored of this stuff, they push them down the toilet. And but the thing is what happens is that because it's my company, or because you work there and it pays your mortgage and it puts food on the table, you're really excited about it. Oh yeah, and I don't know how many times I've had people say to me, if only people would read our brochures, they'd find out how great we were. And it's like, no, they won't, and they don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your product, and nobody cares about your company until we get or we have desire for it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that, Tim. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for making me laugh. Let's bring up the next screen. I'd like you to explain what we have here. I don't know if you want to read it.
This is a mission statement from one of our clients, because actually social is far wider than just sales and marketing. Social media is actually, we see it as it's a transformational technology. It's a way to give basically for an organization to become digital. And that's about having a strategy from a very, very high level, from the board level. So what we've seen is this switch take place. It's been happening for years, but it took place certainly during COVID, which is people are now comfortable to be online. So, even my 85-year-old mother runs wine groups online. They said, oh, no, there's no way that we can do this online. And then, some chap with his cravat on and his Morgan or something drove round and dropped all the bottles off on the doorsteps. And then they sit on Zoom and they drink their wine and stuff. Everyone's comfortable with that. And so what's happened is that our buyers have transformed formed and transferred to working in a digital environment. We're comfortable. So, you know, one minute we're walking the dog, or we're, you know, feeding the cats, and the next minute we go onto LinkedIn and we're in the digital world. And what people have not realized is that there's that switch that's taken place. And what we do is that we provide a strategy to an organization that they can actually understand how to use social media to become digital. So not using applications, because that doesn't make you digital. It's empowering the people and the processes that is the trick around digital. So what's happened, and certainly over the last 3 years, is that we've always talked about the digital buyer, but actually the way that we work, or the way that we look for jobs, is that we do that on social media as well. So Career Arc reckoned that 96% of job seekers basically use social media. Now, I would have thought it was 100%. And when they're looking on social media, what they're looking for is does this company meet my ideals? Is this company the one I want to work for? Is this company it's the C-suite? I want to work for a diverse organization that has an ESG policy and is willing to give back. And where do I find that? Well, I'm going to go and look on social media and see if that's the case. So this idea that the CEO or even the C-suite can hide behind desks and not be on social media is obsolete. It's just not the case. So we have the modern buyers on social media, the modern job hunters on social media. So all of your future employees are on social media. Your investors are on social media, and your future investors on social media. So if you're looking if you're looking to sell stuff, if you're looking to be the employer of choice in your vertical, if you're looking to be an organization that's going to have investors, you have to be on social media. But that's not just about turning up. It's about turning up in a way that's going to be attractive to them, and also about being in the place where and active in the place where they are. So this isn't just about some tactic. No, this isn't just about, let's get somebody in to do some LinkedIn training for 2 hours. This is a strategic process to your organization. And it's fundamental now to the way that businesses work and have to work.
Now, we have talked about, how your clients use social selling to generate FOMO, and I absolutely love the conversation about, the glossy brochures. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm laughing with them, not at them, right? We're laughing with them, with the B2B's, aren't we, Tim? So we've come to this segment of the show where I want to talk about how you use social selling to create FOMO for yourself, Tim. How do you do that?
So this is an example of one of our clients. This is Cyberhawk. They're a drones organization. And what we have here is the CEO, the CRO, the CMO, the COO, the CIO, and the CFO. They all have a presence on social media. And they all look like people that we could go up and talk to. And this is what a modern business looks like. And we see this really as a starting line for organizations today. We have to get out from behind our desks or think that we can somehow get some agency to come and run it for us. This is about real people. We're looking for authentic, buyers are looking for buyers, job seekers, whatever. We're all looking for authentic people and authentic leaders. So Chris Fleming, who's the CEO here, he's actually written. There's a book about social selling. I don't know if I mentioned it. He's actually written in that. I've got him to contribute about why they're a digital organization. And he said that they could have never recruited the people that they wanted without being on social. So we have one customer in Cambridge who no longer uses recruitment agencies and place recruitment ads because they don't need to, because they're on social and people are going, wow, that looks like a great company. I want to work there. And, for any for any small company, stripping out that cost means that you've got the ability to not only get the people you want to be the employer of choice, but also you're freeing up that money to do something else. And what he's saying is that what Chris basically says is that they would never have scaled without the ability. They've doubled their staff, and also the VC that they're using said that they're going to IPO faster and at a higher rate by using digital. Now, just would need to say that he did this 2 years ago.
Wow.
This isn't some future state. This isn't some, oh yeah, we need to do this next week, or maybe we'll put it in the budget for Q2 or H2. He did this 2 years ago. So any organization that hasn't done this, especially his competition, is 2 years behind.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've implemented there is something that we call one of the things that we've done is that we've created this digital dominance. So because they're on social media, and because of their position, and because their competition have tried but have failed, because what they tried to do is they thought it was all about spam. So they did a load of spam, which we all laughed at, and then it didn't get anywhere. And what they've been able to do is completely push out all of their competition, and stop all the oxygen getting to them. And so they've got into massive companies. They do drones for pylons and oil platforms. They've got into there's some big oil companies, ExxonMobil, Saudi Aramco, which you can't get into normally. You could never get into them with cold calling and stuff like that. And they've been able to get into them and sell to them because of their position on social.
Love that. Now we've just got one more screen there to pop up. So if you want to
just really to on the right hand side, I got one of our partners starting on the 1st of January of this year to implement our social selling methodology, and they've got two and a half salespeople, and this is what they've generated in the last, was it 7 or 8 weeks. And so that's just a running total of what they've been able to do. So 109,000 impressions. So we've got one of their sales guys has generated for next week. He's got 22 calls.
Wow.
You could never do that with cold calling and email marketing. So what we're saying to people is, if as a business you want to be able to make 10 new conversations, and if you rolled that out across your sales team, just think of the difference that would make to your forecast and your growth plans. And the other thing is that the 3 items there, which are kind of what I've talked about, which is what you need is a buyer-centric profile, you need a wide and varied network, and you need insightful content. And that's for everybody across the organization. And that's the trick.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And that was just from January this year that they had
the first of January out of the blocks that we've just started measuring.
Wow. That is absolutely fantastic. Well, Tim, it's been amazing. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
At this segment of the show, is all about you. It's about the FOMO promo. Now, I wonder if there's anything that you've got that you've just
written. No, there's nothing.
Like
nothing. I'm not promoting anything, making. Oh look. Yeah, it's my new book, Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Change Makers. It's the 2nd edition. It's the yellow cover.
That's right. I've got the collector's edition, the first one. Edition.
So this one has 306 pages. Yours has got 187. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, what are we to expect in the 2nd edition? Why should I buy your latest copy, Tim?
I've actually rewritten it.
Oh wow! Right.
I spent 2 weeks in Portugal in just before Christmas in 2021, basically pretty much rewriting it. A lot of it has changed. So much has changed. Right. We've learned so much in the business. And I also went out to Mark Schaefer. I've already talked about Cyberhawk, Telstra, Ring Central, Namos. I've got input from Daniel Guzman at Mercer, Anita Visali from Ericsson. I've got a headhunter friend of mine who's written 2,000 words on what he's looking for from salespeople, because he said, if we're recruiting salespeople today, they need to have a digital profile. So he's written about that. So if you want to be headhunted, and so yeah, there's a lot gone into it, and I'm really proud about the input that I've got from it. So it's a couple of I had a contractual commitment to basically write 30% more, but we went way over that. And there's only 8 diagrams in that one. I think there's 40 or something in this. So there's a lot of work gone into it.
Amazing. Well, Tim, it's been absolutely incredible talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing so much great information. And I hope that I know that a lot of B2Bs who are watching this, I've got a couple of clients in mind that I'm actually going to share this video with, who've been talking about the glossy brochure, and I've been trying to tell them, no, we don't want to do that. So I'll say, listen to Tim. If you don't want to listen to me, listen to Tim. So thank you so much, Tim.
You're
I
welcome.
really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I hope you took a lot of this, from this show, viewers, because I know I certainly did. And if you did enjoy this broadcast, go and get your book from Amazon, or well, I don't support Amazon personally. I'll go and get it from the original publications, but do go and get Tim's book. Go and check him out. And this has been the FOMO Creator Show with your host, Making Sang, first name Making. And next week, we're going to be talking to me. I want to go into a little bit deeper about what FOMO is all about, explain some of the stuff that I've been doing to help businesses generate FOMO for themselves on the socials. So I hope you will join me with that. If you've got any questions about FOMO, then I will answer them live. So that is what we've got in store for next week. So thank you so much, Tim, and hit the credits, Mark.